my schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And I also you're the first woman on the How to
Oh,
Kick
really?
It. You're the first woman on the How to Kick It podcast.
Yay! I feel so honored.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us today on episode
course.
5 of the How to Kick It podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm super stoked. I'm glad we got the first woman on the podcast. We're hitting our diversity quota. We're doing our best here.
Yes.
Yeah. So Vanessa,
Yeah, I'm honored.
Oh yeah, I mean it's an honor to have you here. It's a pleasure. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Give your full name, where you're from, what you like to do.
Yeah, so my name is Vanessa. I'm 29 years old. I am in Germany right now. I am from Germany, but I will be leaving Germany soon. And yeah, right now I just finished my studies. I've studied French and Spanish to become a teacher. And so, yeah, right now I'm not doing a lot. It's just figuring everything out, working, having interviews. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
I must say in my time abroad, I've met a lot of teachers that I didn't know that teachers traveled so much, but the more I thought about
it,
it made sense because a lot of them get a lot of time off for the summer.
Exactly. I mean, it's the best job.
Yeah.
You have a lot of free time. You have so much free time.
So much free time, and I mean, I think it's a very respectable profession. You're educating the future of this planet, and
yeah,
it's very interesting because I always had this idea of my teachers. They're very encouraging, and they're obviously trying to share information with you. But I've met some teachers on holiday, and it's almost like a completely different person.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just they have to present themselves in a very respectful way for their students, but when they're on holiday, they get to just cut back, let loose. Their community is not watching them because sometimes as a teacher, you're not just a teacher to the students, you have to deal with the parents, right?
Yeah, that's true. But that wasn't the way when you met me, right?
No. Well, we met in, was it 2017, 2018?
Yeah, I guess it was 2017. Beginning of 2018, I'm not so sure. I mean, we met twice in Bali.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's really hard keeping the timelines intact. It's so much time has passed, and now that COVID has happened, it's basically just tagged on an extra year that not a lot of people have been able to see each other. Yeah, as many of these podcasts have gone, you and I met at the farm hostel, I believe, if my memory suits me. Yeah. Today I'm actually calling from Bali. I just got here earlier this week. Me and my business partner are exploring some different investment opportunities. And so I'm here doing the due diligence. I'm taking all the meetings, seeing all the properties. It's been really good to be back. It's obviously very quiet with everything that's going on with COVID. There's a lot of rumors about borders opening up. There's rumors about borders closing again. So we just gotta, wait and see. And obviously, you got to do what's in the best interest for the Indonesian people. And half of that is you have to take care of their health, but the other half is that a big part of the economy here is tourism. So it's a really tough trade-off because there's a lot of people who say no, don't open the borders. We want to keep everybody safe, and then there's a whole other group of people saying you got to open something so that people can get back to work.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can imagine it's pretty hard. And I also heard from all of my friends over there, the local people are starting to go back on the farmlands and start the traditional work again because they have to earn money, make money for a living.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's doing what they can to earn a buck and essentially wait this whole thing out. And I mean, it's just a time game. I don't know if it's going to be 1 month, 1 year, 2 years, but inevitability is that things are going to go back to the way they were, and a lot of people think they're going to blow up as well. They're going to go even bigger and crazier, and there's this talk about the roaring 20s coming back, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, but enough about Bali. Even though I know there's so many people. There's so many people want to get updates on what's going on. Can always send me a message or send Vanessa a message, and we can give you some updates. But I want to pivot the
Yeah,
conversation back
pleasure.
to you, Vanessa. I met a
Hmm.
lot of people traveling.
Hmm.
You obviously keep in touch with the ones that you want to keep in touch with, and you and I have done a pretty good job of staying in touch here and there. You actually came out
Yeah,
to,
right?
yeah, you actually came out to Los Angeles. I don't know if you were there for
Exactly.
like a month or two, but we got to hang out while you were there, which was so cool. It's so nice to meet somebody
Hmm.
abroad and then have them visit you
Yeah.
in your home country. But you are somebody who loves Los Angeles so much, and
Yeah.
I don't necessarily understand per se.
Yeah.
It's not a place that I've loved. So I mean, tell me about
Yeah.
your connection as a German-born citizen. You've traveled around quite a bit, and yet LA is one of your top places, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't even know why, but I clearly imagine when I was a kid, I mean, like watching all these TV shows, like also California and stuff like that. I was always like, oh my God, I want to go to Los Angeles, visit California, and so I was so happy when I could finally go. And yeah, I don't know, I just love the vibes. I know the people I've met there, and I mean, like we've talked about it as well. The people who grew up there are always like, I don't know why it's not that cool here, but I don't know. I just loved it. I thought
Yeah.
it was pretty cool. I had such a good time there. I mean, like I met new people. I mean, you connected me with a girl, and I had such a good time with her as well. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I just have good memories about Los Angeles.
Yeah. So, I mean, what are some of your favorite places? What areas? Because Los Angeles is a combination of a bunch of little, not little, but like a bunch of sub cities everywhere. So, did you spend time in Hollywood or Santa Monica, or where did you like to spend your
Hmm.
time?
So I remember when the day when I got there, I remember you picked me up from the airport
Mm-hmm.
and you brought me to Venice Beach.
Right. Yeah.
And even though it's a bit touristy, but I still loved Venice Beach.
It's a
I
great
really
place.
love the people there, the culture there. I mean, it's so chill there. But I also loved like Huntington Beach
Mm-hmm.
was nice as well. But I even enjoyed the time I had like downtown LA with all the museums, exhibitions, and stuff like that. I mean, like every part has its own um, thing you can enjoy and you can do. I mean, like if you love the beach, like these areas were good, or if you like going to museums, downtown LA was awesome. So yeah, I don't know. Like I even enjoyed the part, I don't know where that is. I guess it's Hollywood, like where you can do all the hikes, like
Mm-hmm.
Runyon Canyon. Like I mean, it's typical touristy stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of typical touristy stuff is typical touristy stuff because it's
Yeah.
beautiful and it's fun and you can
Yeah.
connect with people. And I
Yeah.
remember seeing some of your stories and some of your photos during your trip,
Hmm.
and it made me think like, oh man, I really haven't explored Los Angeles that much. Not the same way that
See?
you did. Yeah, no, I mean, it's always great
Yeah.
having somebody from an
Yeah.
outsider's perspective come in and they just
Hmm.
are very excited and they're saying, I'm only here for so much time. I want to make the most of it. Where a lot of us, if it's our home country or home city, we're like, I'll get around to it. I'll eventually
Yeah.
eventually go. So,
And
um,
even like Malibu, I love Malibu as well. That
mm-hmm.
was that was so nice to see. And even like all the people were so kind. I've never met such kind people in my life like in Los Angeles. It was crazy.
Wow. I have no idea. I've never heard that before. But no, that's good to hear. I'm glad. I'm glad. I don't
Yeah.
think people in LA are particularly mean or anything, but I've never heard that they're, some of the nicest people. I've had some of my best experiences with German people that I've met abroad. They've always been so kind
Oh,
and so
really?
nice. Yeah. They're very formal. The way
Mm-hmm.
that they speak English a lot of times is like almost like a dictionary or a textbook is talking to you, but they're
Mm-hmm.
very sweet and very genuine. I've never been to Germany myself, but I have a reason to go to see you, and I have some other German friends there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
but yeah, now you have to hurry because I'm leaving soon. Because I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, or maybe I'll just take your spot. We'll do a swap. You
Yeah,
can come to
we
Bali, and
can
I'll go to
switch.
Germany. Yeah, exactly. There's been a topic on this podcast that I've been desperate to talk about, and we haven't had a female
Hmm.
guest on to talk about it. And
Hmm.
the idea for me is, or the concept or the question I have for you is it's circled around safety and it's circled around
Hmm.
security. I know a lot of women in America that tell me, "Oh, I would never go to this country or I would never go to this place because I don't feel safe." And I said, "Okay, fine, I understand." And then I'll go to those places, or I've been to these places, and I meet solo female travelers who have
Hmm.
taken it upon themselves to say, "Hey, this place is a priority to me. I've always wanted to go." And
Hmm.
I do what needs to be done in order to feel secure and feel safe. So, I mean, how do you feel about safety and security while being abroad? Is it a big concern of yours, or is it something that you think about?
I mean, I have to admit, I get this question a lot, but I also have to be like completely honest. I'm never really thinking about that. I mean, like when I'm planning a trip and when I'm actually like leaving, that's something which is never on my mind. I don't know why, but as soon as I can leave Germany, I'm not even scared about being like in in danger or I don't know, like never.
Wow. Well, I guess that's one good reason I can give to people. They're like, next time you're worried, just get over it. Just don't think about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, why should I worry? I mean, like, it sounds so cliche, but even like in Germany, if I go out at night, if I'm going
Mhm.
home from a club at night, I can, like, it can happen anywhere in the world, like,
Mhm.
even in my own country. So, why should I be worried about something in another country that didn't even happen yet?
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, like even people ask me in Bali when I mean, you know it when we're going home on the scooters or something like that. I mean, like I drove by myself in the middle of the night at like 4 or 5 p.m. and I was never scared, like for real, and never really, nothing ever happened to me.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. It was never on my mind.
Yeah. I mean, at least when, from my memory, we had kind of a group mentality a lot of times. If we were going somewhere,
Hmm.
we would go in a group. If we were going to go home, we'd try to go home in a group. So,
Hmm.
from an outsider's perspective, not being a woman, that was always my piece of advice, that if you want to go somewhere, do something, try to stick in a
Yeah,
group. Just, there's power in numbers.
yeah.
But in general, maybe less about going out at night and just, I mean, you sent me a short list here, but you've been to Singapore, the U.S.,
Hmm.
Indonesia,
Hmm.
Thailand, Dubai, Turkey, Spain, France, Portugal. What is this one? I can't. Mauritius.
Yeah, I don't even know exactly how to pronounce that in English.
Well,
Mauritius? I don't know.
Mauritius. Where's
It's just
Mauritius?
like it's like an island in the Pacific Ocean.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean like um,
well,
I thought you heard about that.
let's revisit that in a
I mean like
minute.
it's in an it's like I mean it's a country but more like an island in East Africa. So it's
Well,
like the capital is Port Louis.
oh.
Um, you never heard about that?
I mean, no, and I love it when somebody
Oh.
brings no, no, it's exciting to me when somebody brings something up to me that I've never heard about. Oh,
Hmm.
okay, I just pulled it up here on the map, and it's on the east side of Madagascar.
Yeah, but I wasn't just right. Let me correct myself. It's not the Pacific, it's the Indian
It
Ocean.
is the Indian Ocean.
So it's
Yes.
like an island nation.
Wow.
So yeah.
Well, I'm going to put a pin in that for a second. I definitely want to
Hmm.
talk about this because this is something that I don't think I know anybody who's from there or been there. But I want to focus. I want to focus on this thing about safety and security. I mean, why,
Hmm.
if it's not something that's a big concern of yours, you obviously have female friends and female friends that travel.
Hmm.
Why do you
Yeah.
think it's a big priority to some women and maybe not such a big priority to others?
Yeah, I mean like that's such a difficult question. I don't really I mean like obviously it's like tough for women
Of course.
like when they're traveling alone. Like I have the only concern I have about security is because I want to go to India so bad,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not even sure about that. Like because that's like when I met female travelers, I only heard like the negative stories.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I'm not really sure about that.
Yeah. One of the things about negative stories is that they're so marketable and they're usually
Yeah.
very exciting, and you can tell somebody, "Oh, I had such a bad day or such a bad experience," and there's so much passion behind
Hmm.
it. A lot of times it's not very exciting to hear like, "Oh yeah, I went to this country and everything went smooth and it was really nice."
Yeah.
That's not much of a story. But if you're like, "Oh,
Mm.
they cut my bag when I was riding my scooter and they pushed me down and stole my
Hmm.
shoes." I mean, that's a story. So a lot of times, a lot of the basic, simple things like where nothing happens, you don't hear too much about it, and you hear more about the
Yeah.
extreme. And I'm
Bad
sure,
sides.
yeah, and I'm sure as you heard from India, because you're very fair skin and blonde, that they're gonna go crazy for you, right? They're gonna just like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I can't control myself. I'm just gonna like grab Vanessa. Um, you know, and it could happen. It's a country of
Yeah.
1.3 billion people. I'm sure it can happen. But I've met a lot of
Yeah.
Western women that have traveled India by themselves, and they've not had those experiences.
Hmm.
So I can't tell you what's gonna happen or not gonna happen. What I can tell you though is do all the things that can make you feel comfortable, and definitely go to India when you get a chance. It's a completely different world. It's not like anywhere I've ever been in
Yeah.
my life, and it's a lot and it's super intense. But
Hmm.
just reading over your list of places you've been, I'd say you're ready.
Yeah.
I'd say you're ready for it.
Yeah. I mean, like I'm listening to the stories, and I really appreciate it when people share their stories with me. But so yeah, I listen to it, but I also want to make my own experience. Like if
Mm-hmm.
someone tells me don't go to India, it's so dangerous, I'm not like, oh, okay, someone told me I should not go to India, so I won't do it. So I always want to make like my own picture of the country or the situation. And even in Bali, I heard so many stories, and I was always like, I don't know, I've never experienced stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, as you said, it's always the way you tell it and what you tell. So
Sure. And I mean, sometimes people just have bad luck, and you can have bad luck
yeah,
in your own backyard. You don't have to leave the country for something bad to happen.
yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, and I mean, it kind of fits in the idea you can always play it safe and stay in your lane, but is that really living life sometimes, you know?
It's definitely not.
It's really easy as a man to say, "Oh, take a risk, go jump into India head first and just go for it." And then some people say, Andrew, you're never going to understand what it's like to travel or even just live your life as a woman. I mean, my mom has said stuff like that to me, and it's tough because I'd like to think I know it all, but in reality,
Hmm.
I have to humble my ego and say, you know what, like female friends and mom, I don't know what it's like to be a
Hmm.
woman in the world, in America, in Germany, in Indo. So there's a lot of
Yeah,
times that while I really feel like anybody can do these things and have a life abroad,
yeah,
it's sometimes a mental thing, or it's just something that they can't overcome. And either way, traveling, I've said this before, is not the end all be all to becoming a better, well-rounded human being, but it's an option. And I think you just got to do the things that you love, and if you love traveling, you
exactly.
got to find a way to make that happen.
Yeah, and
um,
even like you said, like I'm the same. I would definitely tell all my friends, like just take a risk and go and leave. But I also see myself as in this type like a pretty privileged person because something like this has never happened to me.
hmm
So yeah, I've been just lucky, I guess. And but yeah, it's tough for women. That's true.
for
I mean,
sure.
but it's like everywhere, not
Yeah.
only when you're traveling. So
Yeah.
still have a lot of work to do.
It makes me think of this story. I was in Morocco in 2017, no, 2018,
Mm-hmm.
and there was like a group of us that went. There was like maybe 6 of us, and it was 4 girls and 2 guys. And slowly, as we went throughout the trip, we started losing more people because they just kind of got burned out. We started in the
Mm-hmm.
north in Tangier and worked our way down to Essaouira. And by the time we got to Essaouira, it was just like 2 of us. But a few weeks before then, we were in Casablanca. It was 2 of the girls and me, and I was just really tired. And I said, listen, you guys go and have a day to yourselves. I'm just going to stay and take a nap. They come back, and they're like, hey, we brought you some stuff. And I was like, oh, what'd you bring? And they're like, oh, we
Mm-hmm.
brought you some hash. And
Mm-hmm.
and we brought you some candy, I think. And I was like, oh, that's great. And they said, can you do us a favor? And I said, sure. What's that? They're like, please don't leave us alone in Morocco again. They said they got so hassled all
Oh
day.
no.
Everywhere they went, they were getting catcalled and guys coming up to them, and some were nice and some were rude, but whatever it was,
Yeah.
they said it was just so much. But they never said that they felt in danger. They never felt unsafe. It was just a lot of interaction that they weren't really prepared for. Um, and just to give you the other side of the coin is when the 3 of us would walk around town, the men of
Mm-hmm.
Morocco assumed that they're with me. And it's not that they had respect for us, it's that they had respect for another man and that they weren't going to bother my female friends because they're with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's a
I mean,
little
yeah.
backwards or dated thinking when you think about the Western world, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't want to judge, but I mean, in some countries, these things happen more than in others, I guess.
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, it's a culmination of so many things. It's the impact that religion has had in the development of a country. It's
Mm-hmm.
how the rules and regulations of the government oversee society, and this generates what you want to call a culture or a public perspective of what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. And a lot of us, I think, like to think that we're so free-willed and free-spirited, and we are the people who we are. Like, I was born this way,
Yeah.
and this is who I am. But it's like you're a product of your environment, not just your family
Yeah.
environment and your friends, but like, what are the laws of your country? What are the big, heavy religions in your country? That's going to influence how you see and
True.
interpret the world. And it's always made me think, like, am I really seeing the world as clearly as I could based off of
Mm-hmm.
all the influences that I've had in my life? And I'd like to think that I'm slowly getting there every day, trying to see it from another person's perspective.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So we talked about Mauritius. I don't know how to say it, but
Whatever it's called in English, I have no idea, but I guess, yeah,
it looks
Mauritius.
super
I don't know.
beautiful. It looks like there's waterfalls and like beautiful
Yeah.
coastline hotels. When did you go there?
Um, Let me think for a second. I guess it was 2017,
How did you
2016, 2017. Yeah.
how did you end up there?
I don't really know. It just occurs to my mind. I was just like, okay. I learned a bit about it in school
Mm-hmm.
because they're speaking French there. We were just talking about it in class. So it was just, I was seeing all these pictures. And so it's just like, okay, I want to go there. I want to explore it. And so I did.
Awesome. So they speak French
Yeah.
there, so that probably means it was a French colony at one point.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. So what did you do while you were there? How did you pass the time?
So I was just traveling around. I mean, like I was staying in some kind of homestays.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was just traveling around for a bit, but I also, I mean, like I haven't been there for as much time. I was just there for 2 weeks. So yeah, I traveled around like by bus, took like taxis and stuff like that, and then even stayed for a week in the same place, like right, like close to the capital.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really remember the name of the place because it was just like really small,
Yeah,
right at the ocean. So yeah,
how small is this island?
I mean, like you think it's big, but when you're traveling around, it occurs to you that it's pretty small. I mean, um, yeah, I haven't seen everything of the island, but I mean, I have seen a lot in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
That's such a unique place. I don't know nobody's ever mentioned this to me. I
No,
don't know anybody who's been there. Do you have friends or other people that you know that have been
no.
there? Well, there you
I
go.
mean, my parents were there as well, but my friends, no, I don't even know. No, I don't think so.
Well, it's definitely a place I'm going to do a little more research on and see what. Do you
Yeah,
remember?
you should.
Do you remember what
And
the food
even
was
like
like? Or
they
the
have like this attraction of the seven world wonders. It's like the seven colored earths. I don't know if you heard about that.
no.
It's like a sand dune um, with seven distinct colors, approximately like red, brown, green, blue, purple, yellow. I mean, it seems like pretty surrealistic. So
I just Google imaged a photo of it and it looks insane. It almost looks like
yeah,
like a lava lamp cracked open and spilled out.
right, yeah.
Yeah, it's so I mean if I could describe it to people, yeah, it's just kind of like sand dunes, but it's literally
Mm.
like all the colors of the rainbow almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah,
See, this is
you should
why,
go.
yeah, absolutely. Everybody should go. This is why I like these
Yeah,
conversations so much because it's like not only do we get to share with people, but I also learn a bunch of, new things and new places that I never would have thought of exploring. So what are the
yeah.
people like? I mean, it's a nation in the coast of Africa. Is it Africans there or there's like French influence? What are the
hmm
people like?
I mean, like the people were nice as well. I mean, like they were so kind and so helpful I mean, like when I was traveling around, like by bus, by taxi, like all the people are so interested in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And but I have to admit, I had like one negative experience over there, but it wasn't like for me that something happened to me personally. But as you know, I think you remember, like I love animals
Mm-hmm.
and I'm really into that. And yeah, and that treating like all these, I mean, you know it from Bali. Bali has so many stray dogs, stray animals whatsoever. And it's the same over there, but they treat them like so badly. And
uh,
yeah, it just broke my heart because one day I woke up like super early. I wanted to watch the sunrise, and I was just seeing these men like torturing the dogs at the beach, like hitting them with rocks and stuff like that. And yeah, this is one memory I still have on my mind
do
till
you,
today.
do you know if they were just trying to scoot the dogs along to get them to go away, or were they just was it an abusive situation?
It was an abusive situation. I
Mm,
mean, like even if they just wanted them to leave, I mean, like that doesn't really matter to me
right.
because you don't have to like hit them with rocks, treat them like that, you know.
No.
So yeah, I mean, like even now when I think about that, I still have these pictures like so vividly in my mind, and it
Mm-hmm.
makes me so sad. And that was like one negative experience I had there. But yeah, but other than that, people are super nice,
Yeah.
super friendly, super helpful, and so yeah. But that was just like one experience that really stuck with me.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, the relationship that people have with animals in different countries it varies quite a bit.
Hmm
You mentioned the stray dog situation in Bali, and
hmm
just to expand on that, like in America, if you have a dog, usually your dog either stays in your house or stays in your yard, and I'm assuming it's probably the same in Germany.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
same over here.
yeah, but in at least in Bali, and I mean different parts of Indonesia, um,
Hmm
the animals just have a little more freedom. So the properties don't have gates that close, and if there's a
Yeah.
street with 10 dogs on it in the mornings, they're all kind of hanging out in the street and they run around. And it's like they have a
hmm
giant yard and the neighbors know the dogs, but sometimes things happen, and with that added freedom that a lot of these dogs have, sometimes they get hurt,
Mm-hmm.
or sometimes, things happen. But I have to think that, I mean, I grew up with a dog, and he lived in the yard, in the house, and that's not that big. That's not that much space. These
Mm-hmm.
dogs, while maybe their life is a little more risky, they get to do whatever they want. I
Yeah.
see dogs, they leave the house, they go spend the day at the beach, and then they come back
Yeah.
and they just do their own thing. And I'm kind of torn.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel sometimes, if I think it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I look at a lot of these dogs
Yeah.
and they seem pretty happy, you know.
That's true. And like, do you remember Esky, the dog from the farm?
I
He
I do
always
remember
went
asking.
to Luigi's with us, like having the time of his life.
Yeah. I remember driving
So
around Bali, and I would just see him at different places. He'd be at different
yeah.
hotels and different beaches, and I would call him, and I'd saw him enough times. I'd be like, Esky, Esky, and he'd jump on my scooter, and I'd drive him back home.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, did
He
you?
was really living his best life
I
there.
know you heard what happened to him, no?
Yeah, I guess he died last year. Was it
Yeah,
last year?
I think so. He
Yeah.
passed away. I think he got sick. I don't think he got like hit by a scooter or a car or anything. I think he just passed away.
Yeah, I think one of the farm boys told me he ate something,
Uh,
I guess, and then he got really sick, and yeah, then it was too late, I guess.
well,
So yeah,
he
so sad.
Yeah, maybe his life was not as long as it could have been, but
Hmm.
I would say that dog lived a very quality life. He had a lot of
Oh
freedom,
yeah.
he got a lot of pets, and he got to run around and do whatever he wanted to do. I saw him all over town. It was
Yeah.
insane. It was insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny when you think about it because you, like the people out there, can imagine like we're talking about a friend, but it's just a dog like living his best life, going from place to place and just enjoying it.
I know people that like animals more than they like people. There's a friend of
That's me
ours.
sometimes.
Yeah. Shout out to my friend Travis, because Travis loves dogs more than he loves people. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, how can you not love dogs? I don't get it.
there's got to be something wrong with you if you don't like dogs.
Yeah, there has to be something wrong with you. And I like one quote that sticks to my mind is always like, if you're not nice to animals and if you don't treat animals in a nice way, you're not nice to humans.
Interesting.
I mean, yeah.
I can
I mean,
totally
like,
identify with that, though. I think animals and people, they can be really big influences on your life. I still remember my childhood dog. I still miss him, Patches.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah. My childhood dog was like my little sister. It was, but yeah, I'm just like this crazy dog lady. Not the crazy cat lady. I will be the crazy dog lady in Bali. I can
I
totally picture myself having like all these stray dogs at my place.
Yeah, I definitely prefer dog to cats. Yeah,
Yeah, same.
yeah. Cats are fine. I
Yeah.
don't like hate cats, but I really, really prefer dogs. Um,
Same.
yeah. So, kind of going back to this travel list that you sent me, kind of the short
Mhm.
places that you've been to, and we're kind of,
Mhm.
trying to stay on track with, like, independent woman traveling the world kind of perspective. And I'm reading here Dubai, and I've heard a lot of different things about Dubai. I've heard a lot of different things from women, flight attendants
Mhm.
that work for the airline. What was your
Yeah.
experience in Dubai like?
I mean, it was awesome to go there,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just like a place. I mean, I have to admit, I wasn't traveling by myself there. I
Right.
was there with my family, so it was more like a family vacation. But we
Mm-hmm.
still did all the exploring stuff. Um, but yeah, I mean, like it was good, and I'm pretty happy that I've been there and that I could see and experience all the things going on there. But I have to admit, it's not my favorite place in the world
Yeah.
because it doesn't seem real to me.
In what sense do you
Yeah,
mean it doesn't seem real?
I mean, like everything is just like you can totally feel the energy when you're there. Everything feels like it's all about looks, money,
Mm,
and like what you have. Um, so yeah, it's not really like I cannot really tell that I've learned a lot about the culture there.
It
So
just
it's
felt
because it doesn't feel natural when you're
right.
there.
It just felt very showy
Yeah,
and
showy is a good word. Yeah.
maybe like
And
manufactured a little bit, almost like an adult Disneyland kind of thing.
yeah, exactly. And more like artificial. So it's, I don't know. I wasn't really feeling the vibe there. So I mean, like I'm happy I've been there, so I can like check I've been there. But yeah,
Sure.
I wouldn't want to go back. So
Did you have to change the way that you dress normally while you were there?
oh yeah, but I mean, like it happened naturally. Like you're when you're visiting all these places. I mean, like I've been to the mosque there. I mean, like then of course you have to cover yourself up. But even if you're going outside and you're wearing like a top or like a skirt, you already feel uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like that was my impression there, and that was my feeling there. Because I remember one day I was wearing like a skirt, like not super short, but I mean, like a skirt that feels like totally normal for us, or would totally feel normal for me to wear in Bali or in Germany. But I remember when I wore stuff like that over there, and I went to the mall, I felt like so stupid. I was just like, "Ugh, I feel so uncomfortable. I want to just wear long pants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't
And
know. I mean,
where
like, because you also get the looks, like
right.
even from men, it doesn't matter if it's men or women. So you get the looks, and then you also feel like, oh my god, I
So
feel so
you
bad. I need to
right,
change.
right. So the uncomfortableness that you're talking about is kind of the energy and the attitude that you sensed from local people that were kind of like maybe you should cover up a little bit.
Yeah,
Mm,
and I mean, like, they're still super friendly as well, but the people over there felt a bit more distant to me. I
mm,
mean, like, they're not as open as in other countries.
right.
I mean, like, still kind and helpful, but I wasn't really feeling the vibe there. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, you still even though it's probably not your favorite place or a place that you're hungry or gonna go back to anytime soon. I mean, are you
hmm
happy for the experience? Are you glad that can share your experience with people on this place?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm happy I've been there, but I have to admit, like, I have the impression I'm the only one that, because I have a lot of friends who went there and they were all like, "Oh my God, it's the best place I've ever been. It's awesome. It's amazing." Blah blah blah. So I'm always like, okay, yeah. So I couldn't really share because everyone is so impressed by the buildings, by the lifestyle the people have there, the lifestyle the people show you there. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of get caught up in the glitz and glamour and everything is shiny and new and expensive. But
yeah,
after a little while, if you're not making, real connections, real genuine interactions with people, it can kind of start to wear on you. And that's kind of how I've been with Los Angeles a little bit.
yeah.
I'm kind of in the surfing community there, which I really love. But when I'm
hmm
in the cities and walking around or trying to talk to somebody at a coffee shop,
hmm
I feel like I have to sift through a lot of people that are hungry for kind of, I'll be your friend, but it's all about what you can do for me.
yeah, I see. I
Yeah.
heard that a lot actually about LA as well.
Yeah. And it's not to say all people in LA are bad. I would say probably most people are good, but for whatever
hmm
reason, the people that have that, I don't know if you want to call it a user mentality or
hmm
I'm only going to help you if there's something in it for me. They really stand out, and if you meet enough of those people in a row, you start to get a little sour, and you start to think maybe I'm just going to kind of stick to my own little community and not venture out some more, even though it's such a big place with so many people.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like perhaps it's also like the present time, like today's
Mm-hmm.
time. Like, what can you do for me? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, this surfing community, I can totally picture you there and not like the other side.
Yeah, I mean, people can be really friendly in the water. People can be not so
hmm
friendly in the water.
Yeah.
But overall, it's a really nice community, and
True.
somewhat focused on health and wellness, because you kind of have to be if you're going to put yourself in that situation. You got to be physically fit. You got to be willing to get up
True.
early in the morning, which means hopefully you got enough sleep the night before. So it's a pretty
Mm-hmm.
well-rounded, balanced community for the most part. For the most part.
Yeah.
Um, Anyway, Vanessa, it's really nice to have you on. I had so many questions lined up for you regarding, in like independent woman traveler kind of thing. And I'm just like, no, but I'm just like starting to realize that while there are some really big differences, and we talked about how, you'll never really understand it as a man. Overall, like 90% of it, if like just talking to you for the last, 45 minutes or so, it really feels like
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of overlap, and there's a lot of similarities, and there's a lot of stuff that, regardless if you're male or female, that we can learn from each other and appreciate, and you know
Totally.
yeah, and share. So it's really cool. I'm glad that we decided to do this. um
Yeah. Anytime.
yeah, so your next big trip, you're gonna come to Indo, yeah? That's the idea?
Yeah. I mean, like, Andrew, can you imagine I'm finally doing that? I mean, like, since we've met, I always told you, like, Andrew, one day I want to go to Bali and stay there for as long as I can. So now, I mean, like, it feels so surreal that I'm finally doing it. So yeah, the next trip is Indo.
Wow, that's super
Yeah.
exciting. And when about are you planning this? When are you expecting to arrive?
So my flight is 31st of July.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so it's Frankfurt to Jakarta. So and then I have to do the 5 day quarantine that you already did.
Oh man, yeah.
How was it?
The 5 day quarantine. I mean, it's 5 days. You can do anything for 5 days. But I will be
Yeah.
honest. The first 3 days were a breeze. I
Hmm.
wasn't worried. I got to
Hmm.
sleep and read.
Hmm.
Day 4 and 5 started to get to me. I was like by myself,
Really?
and yeah, it was just. I was like, what am I doing? I started using. Maybe it was like day 2. I started using all the furniture in my hotel room as like weightlifting equipment. I was like
Yeah.
bench pressing the couch, and I was like curling like one of the chairs and lifting this little table, just because it had,
Hmm.
you have all day to yourself. And I mean, I got a lot of work done. I really prepared myself for the business venture that me and my business partner are getting ourselves involved in here in
Hmm.
Indonesia. So there's a lot of benefits to it, but I mean, it's only 5 days, but at the same time, you can do a lot of like self reflection and think about, you can think about the totality of your entire life in those 5 days. You're like, how did I end up? How did I end up in this Jakartan hotel for 5 day quarantine? In July 2021. How did this happen? And
True.
then you start thinking about
True.
your childhood and your family and your friends, and it's funny, but.
Yeah.
I hope you make the most of your time. I would say try to plan some stuff out, bring a couple books.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, like I have to admit, I'm kind of looking forward to it, because the last months were like insanely busy, and I like even in the last times when I traveled to Bali, it always takes me like 20 to 25 hours to get there.
mhm.
So probably with the first 2 days, I would just try to catch up on some sleep. And then I also try to plan something like catch up on my favorite podcasts, read books, watch shows, and stuff like that. And then, yeah, I mean, like, can you move around in the hotel, or do you have to stay in your room?
You have to stay in your room.
In the room.
There's
Okay. And they,
only the only
yeah, and
time you
then
get
they
to
will
come out.
deliver the food to your room.
Yeah, so they drop the food at the
Um,
door. My hotel like had little doorbells, so they would ring my doorbell and I'd walk out and grab my
yeah.
food. 3 meals a day. I'm not going to tell you where. I'm
Hmm.
not going to tell you where I stayed, or at least not on this podcast, because I just want to kind of bash it. The food was awful. It was
Yeah.
the worst food in the world. I think I
Oh,
lost. I think
really?
I lost like 5 pounds. It was just terrible.
Oh,
Just
no way.
cold. It wasn't even that the food was bad, but it was also cold at times, and I actually
Hmm.
ended up getting a little bit of food poisoning on my last day.
No, Bali Belly.
Bali Belly in Jakarta from like from
Shoot.
a pretty nice hotel,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Um, Also, the only other times you get to leave your room is that you have to take 2 COVID tests while you're there. So my second
Mm-hmm.
day, they had me go up to the 22nd floor where they were doing all the COVID tests. They just have
Mm-hmm.
you sign into your little electronic passport. They do the swab in your nose. They do the deep one too. It's not just on the edge. This one was like all the way inside my brain.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did one the day before I left and flew to Bali.
Yeah.
There's rumors that in July things are supposed to open up, and you're supposed to be able to fly
Yeah.
direct to Bali, but there's no dates, nothing is concrete, and the way that things have been going almost everywhere in the world, they take one step, one step forward, 2 steps back.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I'm an idealist. I want this place to open up and start cranking away, and people making money, and people having
Same.
fun. But at the same time, like I want people to be protected, and I drive around, looking at different properties right now, and I see people not wearing masks and not caring, and then I go to another like little village area, and there's a little old lady just
Yeah.
walking all by herself, and like there's
Yeah.
nobody around, and she's wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to do. I save all my prejudice. I put all my beliefs on the back burner, and I'm doing exactly
Mm-hmm.
what the community's doing. I'm driving my scooter with a mask on, you know.
Oh yeah.
I have
Okay.
some of my Western friends that I know. They're like, "Hey, man, you don't have to do that. Like, it's not really a thing." And I said, "Listen, the population,
Yeah.
the community has spoken, for better, for worse. Everybody's doing it. It
Yeah.
really doesn't harm me to wear a mask while I'm driving a scooter or entering a business. It's
Exactly.
not a big deal." And I
I
and
mean,
I
like
tell
the people
them,
here are so annoyed by wearing a mask, and I'm always just like, oh my God, just calm down. It's just wearing a mask. It's not that bad.
yeah. Um,
So,
I just
yeah.
it's the least I can do, and it's not about the majority of people. Sometimes it's like sometimes I just see like a little old lady, and she's got a mask
Mm-hmm.
on, and I'm like, oh, I feel so bad. Like I see my grandma in her, or I see my mom, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I can wear a mask. Like, what's the big deal?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But it must be so sick to be in Bali right now, like when it's a bit more quiet, right?
There's a lot of pluses and a lot of minuses to being back right
Yeah.
now. I
I
mean,
mean, like one
I've
big plus is that it's more quiet.
yeah, it's way more
I can
quiet.
imagine.
I'm obviously surfing, and there's
Mm-hmm.
nobody in the water.
Yeah.
Not nobody, but there's very few people. It's not that crowded. The
Yeah.
roads are pretty empty. You can get a seat at a cafe, get your food quickly, no
Yeah.
problem. The
Yeah.
downside is though that it's people are still some people keep their distance from each other. You're not meeting maybe as many people, but you're meeting a lot more expats. A lot of the people that are here
Mm-hmm.
right now, they're here for the long haul. They're going to be living
Yeah.
here for the foreseeable future. They're not just coming through on a tourist kind of situation. They're locals
Yeah.
basically, and it's nice to meet these people. They have a lot of interesting stories. I'm going to be using this community hopefully for the podcast as well. Talking
Mm-hmm.
to some
Yeah.
local people,
Awesome.
and like what did it take for you to move out of your home country and start a life abroad? What catapulted you into that sort of reality, and hopefully we'll get some good content from it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure about that. Yeah, I mean, like I just cannot wait to finally be back in Bali.
it'll be
Ah,
it'll be soon enough. I
it will
I
be soon enough.
Yeah, I encourage you with the time that you have left in Germany just to spend it with your friends and family as much as you can. Because who
Yeah.
knows, maybe you'll come out here and there'll be some really good opportunity and you'll have a reason to stay.
Yeah, I mean,
You
like,
never
yeah, I'm
know.
happy that I can still like enjoy the time here with my friends and family, and I really appreciate that. But it's just like, the feeling inside myself, I feel like so nervous. I just want to leave. I just want to do it. So it's just like, I can't. I can't. I mean, like, it's 5 more weeks in Germany. It sounds like super long, but also like time is flying so fast.
It'll be over
So
before you
yeah,
know it. Can you tell me about
Exactly.
some of your friends in Germany? Do they respect and appreciate your, long-term travel and maybe even trying to live abroad? Do they think you're a little crazy, or they think you're cool, or they think you're dumb? Like, what are their ideas about you?
I mean, like, my circle is pretty sick about that. I mean, like, all my friends, they really appreciate it. They really appreciate me telling the stories and sharing, and um, but some of them are also like, you're completely out of your mind. Like, why you want to leave Germany? Germany is awesome. How could you ever consider yourself living in a country like Indonesia?
Hmm.
But I mean, like, there are two sides. I mean, like, they're super supportive. Even when I told them, guess what, we haven't seen each other like in a long time because COVID happened. Um, and then I was just telling them, like, I just have 6 weeks left in Germany, and then I'll be leaving for good. I only booked a one-way ticket. I don't know, um, yeah, when I'll come back, but they were super supportive and excited for me. Like, I mean, I never got so much positive feedback from my friends and from my family, because they all knew that this is this is and was one of my biggest dreams ever. So everyone was like super sweet and nice, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, finally you're doing it!" And even like my friends, like, shout out to Marissa, you know her as
Hmm.
well.
Hey, Marissa.
Uh, hey Marissa, like, she was like so happy because we were talking about this like a lot of times, and now she was like, "Finally you're doing it," and yeah,
I
that's
mean,
pretty much it.
it's something that maybe you never think that you'll do until you've had a taste and start to realize maybe this is something that is going to work for me. So I'm excited for you.
Yeah,
I mean, if I should be around, so hopefully we can meet up, and if there's anything I
yeah,
can
of
ever do to
course.
help, let me know, or if
And I
there's
mean,
any
like,
contacts you need.
yeah.
And
I mean,
that's
like, I've been trying to do it like for the last 3 or 4 years, I guess.
hmm
But then, I mean, like, life happens, and
life
then
does
you're maybe
happen.
stuck in a relationship, or like you have to work, or you have to make more money to realize your dreams, stuff like that.
Yeah,
And now I feel like now is the perfect time to just do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the listeners need to realize that that's a very big statement, because there's never a perfect time. There's always
Yeah.
circumstances that are going to limit you. At the end of the
Hmm.
day, like, you control what you can control, and if you really want to do something different and move abroad,
Exactly.
it's on you.
Exactly.
Yeah. When I first left the States, I had a lot of friends telling me I'm crazy. Like, what are you doing? Why would you do this? Like, America's great. You
Hmm.
should just stay. And this is probably the third time that I've left in kind of a big way. And I've
Hmm.
had just so much support this round and so much appreciation. And I think a lot of it comes from the fact that when I first left, all my friends were in their 20s, and they were still, developing their careers, and they were like, I don't know, man, this is maybe not a good choice. Like, you're giving up your career, and you're taking a big gamble. And
Yeah.
now that they're in their 30s, they're like, oh man, I should have done that when I was younger. Because now,
Yeah.
now I have like a long-term girlfriend or a wife or a kid, and which is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. Like, some of my friends have kids now, and I love the kids to death. Like, it's so awesome when you see like some of your best friends. They have like little mini me versions of them.
Hmm.
It's super awesome. But some of them, I wouldn't say they have regrets, but they kind of wonder. They're like, oh, I wonder if I would have just like taken a year off and just goofed around when I was in my 20s. Like, would my life have been all that different? Would my life be worse? And probably not. They'd probably be richer for the experience, and maybe they'd find
Yeah.
themselves in a whole different life.
Yeah. I mean, like, the worst I could imagine is if I would be like, I don't know, 60, and I look back at life and I just worked like and never experienced something like that. Because I had this conversation with a person, and he told me, like, are you crazy? Are you stupid? Like, what's wrong with you? What do you want there? It makes no sense to me. It's all about work and make money. And I was just like, yeah, maybe it's for you, but it's not for me.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's some story or some quote that I've heard. Basically, it's like somebody on their deathbed, and nobody
Hmm.
nobody ever on their deathbed said, "Oh, I wish I would have just worked a little bit harder or worked a little bit longer." Or you know what I mean,
True.
finished more of those expense reports. Nobody says that. They said, "Oh, I
Yeah.
wish I would have gone and lived my life. I wish I would have spent the time with my friends and family. I wish I would have done,
Yeah.
something worth living for because now my life is over, which all of our lives will inevitably be over, and
Exactly.
it's you got to enjoy it." Um,
Yeah. I
you,
mean, it takes a lot of courage.
yeah,
And even if I'm going to Bali now, of course, something can go wrong. Something it might not work out for me as well. But then at least I can say I've tried.
yeah.
And then I can, like, I don't know if it sounds like too radical, but then I can die peacefully and tell myself I, I I've tried and I failed, but at least I've tried.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think that's super inspiring, and I hope people listening can relate. And if they can't relate, then I hope that they can get inspired to do something. And again, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be related around travel. It has to be related around doing things that you love. If you want to start a new
Yeah.
hobby, or get creative, or take a gamble, or make a new investment, do something that's going to get you excited about life. Because if you're not excited about it and you're just playing it safe, you know,
Yeah.
I can't say that that's not a good way to live life, because everybody should live the life that they want, but I just can't imagine that that's
Hmm.
a real practical way to do it.
Yeah.
It's
True.
like the
True.
most practical thing you can do with your life is something exciting and something kind of scary. Like that's what practicality should mean. It shouldn't mean that I just play it safe and stay in my office and crunch the numbers and then I die and that's it.
Oh my gosh. Same. Same.
Yeah, but I mean,
Same.
I don't mean to oversimplify. I understand that there's a lot of complexities to life. People have family responsibilities. They have
Yeah.
financial obligations. They have bad experiences in their past that are influencing their decisions today. We talk about it like it's so easy, like you just got to do it. But like you said,
Yeah.
actually, like you said, it takes a lot of courage because you have to be willing to do something and try something and throw yourself into a situation that you really don't know what the outcome's going to be.
Yeah. And I mean, like, it sounds so cliche, but it's really stepping out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I did my first solo travel trip, just me and my backpack. Um, like when I was planning it, I was so excited, but then when the day came, I just remember it so vividly when my mom brought me to the train station. I was just like, "Oh my gosh, what am I doing here? Mom, take me with you. I don't want to go." And I was so scared, but then I obviously I left, and it was just like the best ever. Like in the beginning, of course, it's something new. It feels uncomfortable. You're totally on your own. You're young, and I don't know. But then in the end, you're just so grateful that you did. And yeah,
I don't think it would be as impactful or as memorable or as life changing for you unless it was kind of scary.
yeah,
Yeah, you had to be brave,
exactly.
and through that bravery, grew as a person. And
Yeah,
I mean, I think part of the reason that you and I are friends is because we have a lot of similar life experience. We have a lot of things that we've done that were scary. I remember the first time I left the U.S. for a long period of time, I was super scared. Even this most recent time, I just left the U.S. again this last week, and like right
yeah,
up to boarding my flight, I was like, wait a minute, I'm like super comfortable right now. Like I have a nice soft bed, and like I have a
yeah.
home, and I'm like with my family and with my friends. Like what am I doing? And then
True.
I got here, and it all came in perspective. I'm like, we're trying to make business opportunity here. We're trying to incorporate our
Yeah,
friends and family into this decision. So I'm starting to realize, like when I left this most recent time, I really didn't leave. It's not as
yeah.
big of a journey as it once was. if anything, this is me being responsible. This is me starting a business venture. This is me trying to
Yeah.
get financial security while also keeping in mind that I want to live where I want to live and be where I want to be, and they're starting to match up. Like the most financially advantageous
Hmm.
decision that I can make is to go live in Bali and start a business.
Exactly.
And to some people, they're like, that's absolutely crazy. Like, you should just go get a 9 to 5
Yeah.
job, right?
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure you would agree with me on that. But I mean, Bali for us is a plus because it's like going home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like it's our home away from home, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, but I'm pretty sure I will have the same feeling. Like the week before I'm leaving, I would probably feel like, ah, it's really happening. I'm really boarding my flight to Bali, and then yeah, it will be a new experience. I'm not going there to like explore the island or like I don't know, like the typical vacation I always did. I mean, like I have to go there. I have to figure stuff out, find an apartment. I mean, like I have my job interviews here, so I can work online over there. But yeah, I mean, like it will it will be something new. But I mean, like I'm pretty hungry for that feeling of
Yeah.
experience new stuff to get challenged every day.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
I think it's going to be just another level of growth, because
exactly.
we talk about growth on this podcast quite a bit, and
Hmm.
you don't just grow once. You grow
No.
up and sideways and
Yeah.
twisted around and bent over, and sometimes part of you dies a little bit, but that's also so another part of you can grow.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Yes.
Yeah.
Some parts die, true.
Some parts have that, but they're not parts you needed. They're
No, anyway.
Yeah, they're parts that helped the rest of you grow. They're parts that were really important at one time, but sometimes you have to leave certain things in the past, and just look
Exactly.
forward. But yeah,
Yeah, that's true. That's
anyway,
true.
well,
Yeah.
is there anything that you want to share while I still got you on the line here?
um, something I want to share. Let me think. I don't think so. I mean, I'm just like pretty excited to go to Bali and to see you. I was just thinking about it. We have seen each other. That was like 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
So
was when
yeah,
you came to LA.
that was LA 2 years ago. True.
We
Yeah.
also we also hung out with our friend Zeus.
Yeah. Shout out to
Shout
Zeus.
out to Zeus. He's one of my surf buddies in California. He
I
also he
know.
also runs the arepa stand in
I
Los
know. Do
Angeles.
you know, Andrew? Do you know that I was in LA when he and his sister, when it just started to blow up? I was there since day one. So shout out to
Wow.
Arepas.
To the arepas, and to everybody listening,
See.
if you're in Los Angeles, you can go to the Mar Vista Farmers Market, I believe the Santa Monica Farmers
Yeah,
Market,
exactly.
Playa Farmers Market, and I think they're in one more. But check it out. They're the arepas
Yeah,
stand on
they're awesome.
Instagram. It's like a corn tortilla, like a corn pocket with all the most delicious food inside. They're
Yeah.
absolutely killing it. They're crushing it. The food's
Hmm.
amazing. He's not paying me to say this. He would never.
He
But
would hate that.
yeah,
If
no,
he's listening to this episode, Zeus would be like, "Oh my
I
gosh,
know he's
no."
actually he's going to be on the podcast eventually, because a little
Yeah,
background about Zeus is he's originally from Venezuela, came to
yeah,
America, and is now running a very successful business in Los Angeles. And he also has a very
true.
much a soft spot for Bali. Him
Exactly.
and I met here as well, so I guess it's all
Yeah.
coming full circle. Maybe he'll have to be the next guest.
Yeah. I mean, like, he told me that he's planning to go to Bali in like September as well.
Oh, he didn't tell me
So
that.
I just cannot wait to have like a little reunion of the family.
The family, that's
Yeah.
funny. I like that a lot.
Family.
The family.
So, but
Uh,
yeah, true. We hung out with Zeus. Oh, yeah, I totally forgot about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, great
Hmm.
guy. All right, Vanessa. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for your
Oh,
time. This has been like an absolute
pleasure.
pleasure. I hope to have you back one day and we can talk more about,
Yeah.
where this new
Thanks
trip
for
to
having
Bali
me.
has been. Yeah. Thanks so much. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll catch you next time.